I feel like this video is gonna be really long, but I had a lot to say, apparently.
You can't say you didn't see this coming. Finally got some inspiration right again.
Hi, hello, I am back. It feels so weird to talk to a camera, to be honest. It's been almost, how long has it been? Like 6.5 weeks since I've actually spoken to a camera. I've obviously spoken to my friends and family, but it's strange to talk like this. I haven't done that in a while. I also haven't talked as I'm alone somewhere, so it feels a little bit strange maybe to do that again. But we're gonna try and get through this because I have got an update for you guys. I feel like I should have made cappuccino, honestly. Maybe I'll still do that. Hold on. Alright, coffee made. Anyway, it's been a while. As I have mentioned, I am currently back in my apartment, as you can see. So I've officially come back from my holiday. I returned late last night. Not too late because I was still able to clean up some stuff, but I have been cleaning up the rest of my stuff today. It's currently around 4 in the afternoon. There are some things I want to go over as for how my holiday went, and also kind of bring out some stuff that I have acquired / bought as I was in France, and just some things that have happened. So I figured a nice little coffee talk would be good to have. I'm still currently wearing my cast. That has not come off yet. My appointment is tomorrow at this point. By the time you guys see this video, I will probably already have an update, so I might even add a little bit of an update to this video as it is getting edited and everything. But as for now, my cast is still on and my appointment is tomorrow, so that's good. There's something that's happened in France. So we went to France and we were there for 5 weeks. Now the first 2 weeks I was working from the campsite, and as we got there we realized that the internet wasn't working. So there is usually Wi-Fi that lasts for about an hour, then you have to log out and log back in again. It's a very annoying system, but I guess it's security wise it's a good thing because it's an open kind of campsite that people could just, you know, kind of log into that Wi-Fi if it wasn't secured, so I understand it. But the whole kicking you out after 1 hour is very annoying. But, you know, I was okay with that. I knew what I was getting into when I signed up for this to work at the campsite. And I also luckily have my work phone, which provides me with data, so I should be fine. But anyway, I got there, Wi-Fi wasn't working, so that was a little bit of a downer because I thought I was going to be able to also upload my YouTube videos because I hadn't actually done that. So if you've been watching my channel, you know that I have been putting out videos consistently, as I still have been on holiday, but I still put videos out, and those were pre-recorded videos. That is part of a series that I wanted to kind of do on my channel, where I go over the different steps on how to write a book. Not that I am like the expert on it, but I wanted to share at least some tips and tricks that I find helpful or that I do personally myself, and I hope to continue that process and bring you on with me for that book. So if you haven't watched those videos, I'll make sure to leave them linked somewhere. But those videos I hadn't actually finished before I left for France, so I had to finish them as I was in France. And I kind of knew that that was gonna happen. I felt very stressed the last couple of weeks before I was meant to go to France, and then I broke my foot, and that obviously didn't help. That put a lot of kinks into my cable, let's say, and it didn't really get my plan of action to go the way that I had hoped. But I had to kind of deal with that, and I said, you know what, it's fine, I'll just do it on the campsite, no problem. But I didn't have Wi-Fi, so that was my only little tiny problem, because the files can be very big obviously when it's videos. I knew that I wasn't going to be able to do all of it on my data from my phone, and that is why I try to preserve a lot of my data at that very first moment. I was like, okay, well, I'm still in July. I have 17 gigs in July. I have 17 gigs in August. If I am able to upload a bunch of videos on my 17 gigs, maybe 2 or 3 will definitely go in July, then I might be able to do 3 more or 4 more in August, depending on how big they are. So I was kind of banking on using my mobile data and just kind of fingers crossed. So I tried to do some of them in July, and then the rest I was going to do in August if the Wi-Fi didn't pick up again. So luckily for me, by the time I wanted to upload my videos to YouTube, the Wi-Fi came back on and I was able to log in and upload the videos that way. But I was still trying to preserve my data in case the Wi-Fi blew out again, which it did do at some point. It just kept on dropping in and out for a couple days sometimes, but I was able to still work okay. The Wi-Fi didn't really allow me to do a lot of video calling, so I had a lot of Teams calls, obviously, because that's kind of the way to go when you have meetings, but I also just kind of turned off my camera because I wasn't able to really be there on screen, because that would crash my Wi-Fi even more, and having other people on screen wasn't as bad. I don't know why, but that seemed to kind of do okay. So I did a lot of video calls like that where I wasn't really on screen, but I was still there listening, and I would unmute and mute myself if necessary. Long story short, the working holiday part was fine. My sister was also in France at the time with her husband, so we had a lot of evenings together where we played some games and we just kind of enjoyed our time together. And on the weekends they were kind enough to take me on a walk because I wasn't able to walk. I had my crutches, but it wasn't very nice to walk on the crutches, and I wasn't really able to put my broken foot down. It was hurting too much. I was taking a lot of painkillers, and with the heat I really had to make sure I kept my foot up, otherwise it would hurt even worse. And there was one time I did have to lie down because it was so painful, and I couldn't sit down normally, and I was like, I'm just gonna lay down because it's driving me crazy. With the crutches I couldn't really walk a long distance. I tried to, you know, do the small bits, but I wasn't able to stand on my leg in the first 2 weeks at all. Even though, you know, I was supposed to be able to start walking on it, I wasn't. It was very painful. So they offered to take me on a walk, so my brother-in-law actually pushed me into the wheelchair and we did a big round, and I got to see the normal things I would usually see if I was on the bike or if I was walking with my mom. So there was a lot of things I was able to see this year, even though I was not necessarily walking myself. So thanks to them, I was still able to do that. So I'm very grateful, and yeah, we made the best of it, honestly, with the wheelchair. It was kind of fun. We had a good time. So moving to the holiday part, which was the 3-week period that I had originally planned to be off, and was off and got to enjoy for the most part. So as I said, I wasn't really feeling like I could walk on my leg that much because it was hurting a lot. So I was doing little bits and pieces here and there. I was trying to do a few steps a day. It got a little bit better. I was still in pain, and if I walked too much on it, I would be hurting a lot afterwards, or the next day I would curse myself for having walked so much the previous day. But I tried. And I tried with the crutches, and I tried to lean more on my right foot so that I wouldn't put too much pressure on my left foot, which was a broken one. I tried a lot of things. I tried to do my best. Now, before we get into the nitty-gritty of what happened additionally to my broken foot, because that is going to be part of my video, I want to make sure I put some trigger warnings in here. So I will be explaining some stuff that is not necessarily there for people that are squeamish or don't really like blood, stuff like that. So I don't think I will be putting any actual visuals in there, so don't worry about that. I did take a bunch of pictures of it for me, for my own documentary kind of thing of like knowing, okay, this has happened, this is how it's been healing and stuff like that. But if you don't like that kind of stuff, if you are not really appreciative of that, then please do not continue. Make sure you check the description to see what time codes are safe for you to watch. I will make sure I chapter them and put a do not watch if you're squeamish kind of thing in there. hopefully they'll make sure that you'll be able to skip that part and not be confronted with it, because I know that some people don't appreciate that. So just wanted to point that out, and make sure you check the description if you want to skip that part. Okay, so let me think about the dates. So let me actually grab my phone, because this is the interesting part. As I was in the hospital to get my cast redone before I left, they told me, oh, you need probably 4 weeks for it to be good, for it to be healed. And that was on the 13th of July. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks would have been the 10th of August. Okay, you with me? So the 10th of August, I wasn't able to walk properly. I was still in a lot of pain. I didn't feel like I could walk on my foot, not without the crutches anyway, and I only felt like I could do a couple steps here and there, and I was trying to do that because I felt the doctors told me that I should be able to walk on this by now, and that I should be fine, and that I should be healed, and that the cast could have been taken off, but I told them, you know what, I'm gonna be in France, I'll just wait until I'm back. And I had an inkling feeling of like, I don't know if everything is right, because, you know, they did tell me it could be the easy way or the hard way, and I felt like maybe mine was the hard way still, because it didn't really feel like I could take my cast off at that point. I was like, if they had taken it off now, I would have not been able to walk after it. So I felt like it was a good decision that I had left my cast on for longer, even though I couldn't have predicted that. Anyway, I tried to walk on my foot, and, you know, little by little tried to do a little bit more here and there, tried to put all of my weight on it to see how that felt and stuff like that. So one morning, which is the week after, on Wednesday, which is the 16th of August, so almost a week after I should have been, you know, cast free, if I was not on holiday, I decided I was going to put my shorts on the normal way, so standing up. So I had my broken foot through, and I was going to lean on my broken foot to get the other side in. So I had my crutch on my right hand, I had my crutch on my left hand, and I was trying to kind of, you know, do that. So I had that kind of hanging loose, I guess, on my arm, so it kind of grabs around the arm, and I had it hanging loose a little bit so I could grab my shorts and I could pull that up. So I was trying to fit my normal leg and my normal foot through the hole of the shorts, and I don't get my foot through the hole. I somehow don't make it through, and I lose my balance. I somehow end up with my not broken foot on my crutch with kind of, I guess I could grab a crutch, hold on. So this is my crutch, right? So I had my arm through, it grabs on like that. So it was kind of hanging like that. I was kind of leaning on it like that. I could, you know, do it like this, stuff like that. So I had my shorts and I was trying to put that up, and I landed on my crutch. So my crutch has obviously like little holes where you can adjust the height of your crutches, and then it has a little ledge because that is where it slides in and out to make it longer or not. And then the stub that rests, right? And I am thinking that my foot got caught on this, this little thing here. Some people have also told me maybe it got caught on the little holes. I don't know what it got caught on, but my middle toe, so this one, got caught somewhere and did this as I was kind of stepping down again, because obviously I wanted to get down, and I tried to put my foot down because I was losing my balance. So my right foot that was partially into my shorts stepped onto my crutch because I was holding that on this side, and I lost balance. I fell over that way. So I was holding this with my arm, sort of. Anyway, I wasn't really holding it anymore. Stepped onto the crutch, slid down somehow, and fell. So I fell over, I sat down on my butt basically. I crashed my hip into the kitchen part of our trailer tent, and I hurt my arm on the crutch, so I had a bruise here as well. I didn't see that until a couple days later, but Like the day after, I realized I had a bruise here and I had a bruise on my hip. So that's when I realized I'd also probably fallen against that, because I didn't really realize at the time. Because obviously a fall happens so quick that you sometimes don't realize what has happened, right? So I was immediately in a lot of pain and I was shocked that I had fallen. So I was sitting down on the floor and I looked at my foot and I realized it was bleeding. So at this point I was obviously taking blood thinners. So I knew that any cut was gonna look like a major cut, because blood thinners just, you know, make your blood ooze out really fast, and that's not very nice. As I was basically moving my foot to kind of in a more comfortable position, I saw it was bleeding a lot. So I just saw, the thing that I saw was from my middle toe to my pinky toe, I guess. That part was fully bloody. And I didn't know, obviously, what happened fully. I just knew that I had sat down and I had knocked over the table in the process that was standing there with a lot of stuff on there. Nothing was broken on that, but it wasn't great. And as I was moving my foot over, I saw drops literally dropping down. So I was dripping onto the carpet that we have in the tent as well. I grabbed it with my hand, so my foot with my hand, to make sure that it stopped kind of oozing out everywhere. And my mom got me some tissue paper and some, you know, stuff like that, because we didn't really have anything close that I could take that, you know, that was there. So we just did that, and I just sat there like this for quite some time, trying to process the shock of it, trying to analyze if I had any more pain anywhere else. It didn't feel like I had any more pain. I just felt a lot of pain in my foot and in my toes, and I didn't really know what was happening at the time. I was just very shocked. So after a little bit of that, I had a look at my toe, and I honestly freaked out as I saw it. My middle toe, it was the only one that was hurt. It was my middle toe. So the rest was just blood that was from my middle toe that got everywhere. But my middle toe was torn, I would say, open quite a bit. I had a cut from this side of my toe all the way around to the other side of my toe. So the only part that was still not touched was this part where the nail is. That part was fine, but it was from the side all the way to the other side, and it would literally like lift up and down a little bit. So it wasn't great. I didn't look at it too much because it freaked me out and I felt very nauseous as I looked at it. But I knew kind of that second that I needed stitches. It wasn't just a small little cut or, you know, a tiny little scrape. It was massive. And I got freaked out. I really did. I didn't know what to do. I knew that I had to get to a hospital. Obviously, I hadn't done that before in France or at any of my holidays. Luckily, I had never needed it. The only time I'd ever gone to a hospital that wasn't in my home country was when I was in the US. When I was there for a year, I had some stuff that I went to a hospital for, but I'd never gone to the emergency room anywhere except for the US one time when I was there for 4 weeks on a summer course for school. And that was also something with my foot. But I never needed help ever, luckily, and it was very new to us to try and have to do that in France. So I had to step on my broken foot because I needed to make sure I was able to get somewhere. So that obviously wasn't nice. It hurt a lot, and my other foot hurt, so it was just not a great time. We got to the hospital. We get there. We obviously don't speak the language fluently. I know a bit of French and I know enough to get by on, like, you know, small things. If I'm like in a supermarket or like on the campsite, like, you know, I know enough to get by and to say, hello, how are you? Yeah, I'm doing great. You know, how are you getting on? Or, you know, like the small things I know, or if they're explaining this and this and this and this is gonna happen this week on the campsite of like animation stuff, I know enough to get by with that, but I don't know enough to explain medical things. So we got to the hospital and we were like, okay, does anyone speak English? And they were like, no. And I was like, okay, but I don't speak enough French, like I speak a little bit. And they were like, they were, I don't know, at first they were kind of like, I don't care, kind of that attitude. And I had given her my insurance card and she was like, no, we don't take insurance. But especially if you're, you know, we don't take insurance for foreigners. We don't do that. You have to pay. And I was like, okay, I don't know. My insurance told me that everything was gonna be fine. But when we got there, they told us we had to pay. So I was like, okay, well, whatever. I checked my bank account to make sure I had enough money on there. I was expecting a large bill, so I was like, okay, let me figure this out. So I looked at my bank account and I was like, okay, I have enough money, I think. I have quite some money on there, so it should be fine. My mom even was like, okay, I think I have this much in my account. So we were trying to piece it together if we got a bill. So I got taken into the emergency room. I had to wait for a little bit, and then I got into a room, and somehow they found a doctor that spoke English, so I was very happy with that. He was like, what's happened? So I explained to him what has happened, and he was like, okay, let's make sure we get you an x-ray to make sure nothing is broken on that foot, and then also check for tetanus, because I didn't know. I was like, I don't think I've ever had a shot for tetanus. I'd never had a cut before this big. I'd never had stitches except for in my mouth when I got my wisdom teeth out. So I'd never had anything like this in general, and let alone in a country where you know, speak the language a little bit, but not medically. So ended up being wheeled to the x-ray place. So I got an x-ray. They took 3 pictures of the foot to make sure nothing was broken. They didn't tell me if anything was broken, but I'm assuming not, because otherwise they probably would have done something with it. But yeah, I got back into the room that I was in, and they told me, okay, we're gonna check for tetanus now. So they took my blood, they run a test, and I was good. I didn't have to have a shot, so that was nice. They cleaned my wound a little bit. They sprayed some stuff on there, and I thought, okay, probably disinfectant, I don't know. Because obviously I didn't know everything that they were doing as they were doing it. They tried as best they could to explain it in like French paired with English, and we tried to get by. I spoke a little bit of French. They spoke a little bit of English, so we got by, you know, but it was not as easy as I guess it would have been if you spoke language very well. So they get me someone else. So I feel like at this point I've seen probably 15 people. So they get someone else into the room, which is also a doctor. I am the surgeon. I just need to make sure I check a couple things for your toe. And I was like, okay. So they asked me if I could bend my toe, which was, you know, like that, to make sure that none of the tendons were broken. So I did that. It was fine. He was like, okay, that looks good. You can move your toe, which is good. It's a good sign, because that means nothing is broken there. Then he checked for the nerves to make sure that I could still feel my toe, and I could still feel it the same way that I could feel the other toes. And I was like, yeah, I think it feels pretty much the same. So he's like, that's good news, because that means your toe is intact, at least in that stage. Obviously it's not intact because it's open, but he was like, that's a good sign, because that means none of the tendons are broken and your nerves are not damaged. So it's a superficial wound, and you just need stitches, and that should be fine. So you don't need any surgery. So I was like, obviously relieved. So that was fine. So he left. We got a different person into the room, and she was like, I'm gonna do your stitches. And I was like, okay, great. She spoke French to me mostly, with a little bit of English here and there. And I tried to speak French back to her, and she told me, I understand a lot of English, so if you want to speak English to me, that should be fine. So she was gonna do my stitches. Having never had stitches before, I was a little bit nervous, and she informed me that they were spraying, the stuff that they were spraying was actually kind of a numbing spray that would numb my toe so that I wouldn't feel as much of the stitches as, you know, you wouldn't have anything. So they said, this is a numbing spray. It doesn't completely relieve you of the pain, but it does a little bit, and it numbs it a little bit. So that is what we have. We also have a different actual anesthesia, local anesthesia thing, that is a shot that we could give you, but she was saying something about risks, and I wasn't really sure what type of risk it would give. She was just saying risk, and I didn't really catch whatever risk it was. I was like, if it's a risk, then we'll just try it this way and it's fine. So she again told me, you know, we'll try it this way, but if it's too much pain, we can always go for the other option later on. And I was like, fine, we'll just try and do this. So she was very nice, she was very calm, and she also kind of said, okay, are you ready? So, you know, we did kind of step by step. She was like, are you ready? I'm gonna do this. And I asked her, how many stitches do you think we need? She's like, probably 3. And I was like, okay. So we started, and the first one was like kind of okay. I wasn't really sure what to expect, but it definitely was something that I could feel. And it wasn't very nice. It hurt quite a lot, but it was, you know, it was fine. I had to get through it. So I proceeded with the thing. She got 2 stitches in, and the second one really hurt. And after the second one, I told her I need a minute. I didn't feel so good. I felt dizzy. So she was like, okay, I'm gonna get someone to, you know, come in. Because I asked her if I could have my water. I had my own water with me on the wheelchair. Because we had obviously already had the wheelchair. So we brought the wheelchair with us. My mom wheeled me into that, to the emergency room and everything. And we had water with me. So that was on the wheelchair, but I couldn't reach that because I was on a stretcher bed thingy where they were doing the stitches. So she got someone else to hand me my water, and I had a couple sips of water and I just relaxed a little bit back because I was sitting like this before, and she told me to just recline, sit back, try and breathe. So I really had to focus on my breathing as she was doing the stitches because I feel like the numbing stuff had probably worn out at this point because it was so painful to get those stitches, honestly. So she looks at me and she's like, I think we'll actually need 4 stitches. And I was like, okay, yeah, no, that's fine. So she put 2 more in, and honestly they hurt, but you know, I got through it, I guess, is what I can say. So she finished up the stitches, and every single time before she started a new stitch, she would ask me, are you okay? Do you need a minute? Are you ready to continue? You know, she would ask me every single time, and she was also trying to make small talk with me and ask me if I was on holiday, and I was like, yeah, I've been coming for 20 years to this place, and we always stay on the campsite, and it's been great. And you know, we were trying to make small talk so that I would be distracted and I wouldn't notice the stitches as much. I think I was in and out in an hour, and my mom obviously was like, you were there for like an hour, and I was like, it felt so quick for me because I was in there, they were talking to me about what happened, they wheeled me to the radiology department where they got me an x-ray. Got an x-ray pretty quick. I feel like I only waited for a couple minutes. Went to the bathroom as I was waiting and got my x-rays, got wheeled back, got told that my tendons weren't broken, that my nerves felt fine, got someone else to do the stitches, and then I was out. So for me it felt very fast, especially because I'd seen like 15 different faces, so for me obviously it felt very fast. But yeah, that was alright. I got out of the room where they did all of the things. There was a band-aid up that was put on it. So we get out of there, and we get back to the person that was, you know, that told us you're gonna have to pay. And this other lady opens up another till and is like, oh, are you guys waiting? And we're like, yeah, we're waiting. We're ready to kind of go. And this lady that was originally helping us was like, no. They have to pay. And I was like, yeah, I know I have to pay. I'm telling her that I am, you know, I've been seen and I'm ready to leave. So she was like, no, I'll deal with it. Kind of like that, which was very funny. And she eventually got some other colleague that was gonna come to us, showed us the bill, make sure that we followed her to a different cashier place where we had to pay, and then we were able to go. Honestly, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be. Like, with my only experience ever going to the emergency room outside of the country I live in, being the US, this was a relief, honestly. When I had gone to the US and I had insurance and everything, even at that point, I was insured by school, and then I also did my own travel insurance separately. Now, school did some type of insurance that didn't cover anything, and they were very shit. You know, I don't want to hash that up, but at that point I had a bill of like $800, and it was less than what I had now, basically, when I had that in the US. To do a quick little thing, when I had that in the US, it was just a scrape on the top of my toes, so there was like tiny cuts. I got some cream to put over it. I got a shoe so I couldn't bend my toes. It wasn't broken anywhere. They did an x-ray for that as well, and that was that. And they charged me over $800 for it. and I got that bill personally. Even though I'd shown them all of my insurance stuff, they proceeded to call me to tell me, you haven't paid, we're gonna make sure that you know, we're gonna fine you if you don't pay. And I was trying to explain to them, look, it's not me that's gonna have to pay. I'm trying to contact the insurance people that the school insured at, and they're telling me that I can't get that fixed there, and I'm really trying to make this work. You know, I'm a student, I don't have that kind of money. So they were very kind, and they told me, okay, we're gonna put your account on pause so that we don't keep hashing you every single week with the same story. And I was like, okay, great. So I eventually got that fixed with my own personal insurance, my own travel insurance, not with the school because the school didn't want to do anything, but with my own travel insurance. So after that, I've always made sure I had travel insurance, and I was very happy that I had it. So anyway, back to the story. It was 88 euro something. So it was less than 90 euros. And I, at this point, was expecting hundreds. Right, because I was like, okay, well, you know, if I compare it to anything I've experienced with having to pay for like emergency room, it must be hundreds, if not, you know, thousands. So I was afraid, but they only charged me 88 euro something, which I was very happy about and very lucky. So off we went, and we went back to the campsite. But now the problem becomes, I was not able to walk on my foot much. Okay, from this point onward, it's gonna be safe for you to watch this video. I will be mentioning stitches and my non-broken foot being hurt as well, but that is all I'm gonna mention. I'm not gonna be talking about anything else. So don't worry, we're not gonna get into all the disgusting bits. So at this stage, right, I have returned from the hospital and I need to get around. I need to, you know, get from bed to a chair, to outside. I need to do a few steps here and there because I can't otherwise get around. My broken foot still hurts, and now my other foot hurts because of the stitches that I had underneath my toe. So I was trying to walk on my non-broken foot on my heel mostly, and then the side, and walk a little bit funny to get around, and then also walk on my broken foot, even though that hurt a lot. But I didn't really have a choice because I couldn't really hop on my non-broken foot because of these stitches. So I felt like I was forced to walk on a foot that I wasn't feeling very great and get by. So I tried to do as little as possible. I literally only got up if I needed to go to the bathroom or something like that. I wasn't trying to walk too much because I knew it was hurting, and that was that. I was just sitting by the tent reading on my Kindle most of the time and enjoying, not doing anything, I guess. I don't know what the universe was trying to tell me, maybe that I was still doing too much. Even with the broken foot, you know, if that wasn't enough to put me to rest, I guess this now forced me to actually take some rest. So I'm guessing that is probably the message that I have gotten from that. It's been an experience to go on holiday. I honestly feel like my holidays are cursed. I don't know what to tell you. As if a broken foot on one is not enough, I had to get stitches on the other. You know, if you've watched my Instagram stories, you actually know that that had happened. I didn't really specify too much, but yeah, so that happened. So I didn't get to do any of the usual things that I usually do. I didn't get to go to any of the rummage sales this year because they're usually in fields, which means it's grass and it's very hard to push a wheelchair through the grass. I wasn't able to walk too much on my crutches, especially not with the stitches as well, so I didn't go to any of the rummage sales. We did, however, go to some kind of rummage places that sell regularly or that sell maybe once a month that are more in a barn kind of thing or in a building, so that was easier for me to get around, and that was nice. So I got to see a couple things. I didn't actually buy anything, but I got to at least see some stuff. And there's also a secondhand shop in the town that we usually stay at, so I also got to go there. And then we did another one that's a little bit outside of that town, kind of on the last day of our holiday. We also did that, so that was nice. Yeah, overall I didn't get to do a lot of things. I didn't get to visit any places. We were kind of hoping that I was going to be able to walk properly towards the end of my holiday, at least the 3 weeks I was, you know, off, or at least the last 2 weeks, somewhere there. I was hoping that I didn't need my crutches and I was just gonna be able to walk everywhere on my broken foot, but that turned out a little bit differently. So tomorrow I am going to get a appointment. I'm going to get my cast off. We're gonna see how it goes. I honestly am expecting to not get anything. I feel like they're probably just gonna tell me, too bad that your foot still hurts, you're on your own. But I am gonna ask them to do an x-ray. They usually don't. They usually will say, you know, it's been healed. It should have been healed anyway, so you're off on your own. But because it's still hurting, and not only the place that it's broken at, that hurts sometimes, but also my ankle really hurts, and that started hurting kind of a day or maybe 1 or 2 days after I'd fallen over. And I think that's also partially because that wasn't the only time I fell over. I fell over not the same night, but the night after my stitches had happened. I fell over again because I was losing my balance as I was trying to get up from a chair. Yeah, I was not very lucky, let's say. So my ankle has hurt a lot since then, and obviously I still had to walk on it even though it hurt. So I've been in pain, and I've been taking painkillers, just paracetamol, nothing, you know, drastic. But paracetamol, and then sometimes some ibuprofen to, you know, enhance my paracetamol, I guess, or to give me an extra dosage of painkillers. But that's all I've been taking. I haven't been taking any of the harder stuff, I guess you could call it. So it's still not nice to have to take so many painkillers every single day, and I don't recommend it. But I've been doing that to kind of deal with the pain and to trying to get by walking on stuff that hurts. So that's kind of what has been happening with everything. My foot is kind of, you know, my other foot is mostly healed now, so that's fine. Just, you know, still a little bit sore, obviously, because it's only been like 2 weeks at this stage. Not even, I guess. Let me see. So it's been almost 2 weeks. You know, not yet, because it happened on Wednesday and it's currently Monday, but I'm expecting that to be fine in a little bit. In a couple days it should be okay. I am mostly okay with walking on that one. It shouldn't hurt too much. I took the stitches out myself. We'll not get into that, but I have the stitches out, so that's good. With the holiday being different and me not doing a lot of things except for reading, I didn't actually read that many books. I thought I was gonna read way more, but I read the second book in the Outliner series, which I was starting last year on my holiday. I actually read that now on my Kindle, and I ended up reading also through half of the third book. I think I finished a book that I was reading here, physical form. I realized I had that on my Kindle as well, so I ended up reading the last half of that as well. So not too many books I've actually read, but I've read the longer ones, or at least, you know, I was trying to get through the longer ones, and that was fine. Also, I'm forgetting my coffee, so it's now probably cold, but it's fine. And I think part of me not reading that much is because obviously everything takes a lot longer. Going to the bathroom took a lot longer. Doing the dishes didn't take that much longer, but I still was able to go and do the dishes in the wheelchair with my mom. So we did that. We did the laundry every day. Not every day, but we did the washing up every day, and then we did laundry, you know, sometimes every other day or however much was needed. So we did that as well, and then we did some shopping, as in like grocery shopping, but we also went through like some stores and some different places to kind of, you know, see something, to be able to do something. We also kind of called it a different outing for me, because I was very much so stuck around the tent, and I didn't really go that far, especially not off of the campsite. So that was why we also spend a lot of time in shops, just kind of look around and doing those kinds of things. So I got some stuff and I wanted to show you guys. So move on to the fun part of this video, because I obviously feel like this last bit has not been as fun. I'm going to grab the bag of stuff. I got this, which is a cooling bag, and I thought it was like cute design. It's a cute size. It's not too big. It's kind of the nice size that you can use kind of maybe on the back of your bike, it looks like. but just a nice kind of smaller size cool bag. I have a really big backpack one, but I felt like this was, it was nice. It was, you know, it was nice. So I got that. Then I got myself some new sweatpants. So just basic sweatpants like that with a nice color, you know, nice green, bluish green color. And honestly, I got these on separate days. I got this shirt as well, which is a little crop top, and it feels like it's kind of that, on the outside it feels kind of like towel material, but it feels very nice and it was very comfortable and it was 70% off, so I had to get it. But if you look at it side by side, they're matching in color. I didn't buy it on the same day as I said, so I really didn't think about that as I bought it, but it was really nice. More clothes as we get through these. I bought myself this pair of pants. So they're long and they're like this flowy fabric. I was like, this is something different. I usually don't buy these kind of things. I usually don't wear these. But I thought, you know what? It's something different and it gives me some nice long pants. So I bought that. Then on a different day, I bought this, which is again a crop top. And it's kind of like a spaghetti thing that comes together in the front. So if you put these together, they're not exactly the same color. This one's a little bit lighter than this one, but again, it's kind of matching in the same palette, so that was fun. Then let me see, there's some stuff in here that's not bought stuff because we had to chuck it in somewhere. So let me just, you know, get that stuff out. Next up is this paper cutter. So it's a tiny one, it's an A5 size, just a paper cutter. I figured, you know what, it might be useful to me with my bullet journaling, so I got that. I didn't really need it, but I got it anyway. Then I got these pens. So they are ballpoint pens, I think, and they are erasable as far as I can see. So I got these, and I mostly got them because this has a purple pen in it. And then I got purple refillings as well, because my thought is that I'm gonna use this purple pen to do my book signing stuff. So we're gonna see how that actually turns out and if it actually writes nicely, but that is kind of my hope, that it turns out nice and I can do my signings with that. Let me get some more stuff out. That's not stuff that I bought. It's just my day cream and mascaras and stuff. Then we bought these. One of these is actually supposed to go to my mom. So Mom, I will make sure to put this aside for you. But we bought this because it's a bottle stopper. So I'm gonna have one and then my mom also gets one. So I'll make sure to undo that and get my mom one as well. I forgot that I actually did get something on the rummage sale stuff. I got little spoons. So there are 3 little spoons. Oh, 2 spoons and 1 fork, actually. But the cool thing is these are kind of labeled like that. And I got them from places that I actually have visited. So this is a Sagrada Familia in Barcelona. Clercq, which is in Paris. The Cathedral on Mont Saint-Michel. So I got these, and they're nothing special, you know. They're just cute to have, I guess, as like memorabilia. So yeah, and I thought it was funny that they were made in Holland, so that was also cool. So I got these for my collection, I guess, and I didn't actually pay for them. So the people that we usually go with, they usually get more things, so they make kind of like a package deal, I guess, for everything. And they were like, yeah, they didn't actually put down the little things, like the 3 things, the 2 spoons and a 1 fork. They didn't actually charge anything for that. So and they were like, even if they did charge for it, we would just give it to you anyway, because they probably charge 50 cents for it maybe, if they even charge anything for it. So yeah, I got those for free, which is very nice. It was a gift. I got flip-flops. So these are kind of the rubber flip-flops. I don't know, I thought they had a vibe, and I thought especially with like this pants and stuff, I don't know, it was a vibe. At the time I was like, I like these, and I still like them. I think they're a vibe for like holiday stuff and whatever. They seem very comfy as well. Obviously I couldn't fit you know, I couldn't try on this one, which is the left shoe, but they're adjustable and the right side fit. So I was like, you know, if they're adjustable, it should be fine to still put on my left foot once it comes out of the cast. So I have those, and then the last item here is wrapped in because we wanted to protect it on the journey home. It's not glass, so you know, it's not that fragile, but we wanted to wrap it in anyway. It's a tiny globe, and I thought it was very cute, and I'm planning on putting it in my bookshelf somewhere because I really like the vibe of it. I thought it was really cool. I had seen other tiny globes on other places and I'd already liked them there, but I found this one, which I thought was cuter, because the other one was a red bowl or a black one, and I thought this one was nice. And this one was also cheaper than I saw them at the other store, so yeah, I got this one. It's very tiny, but I like it. So I'm gonna put it on my bookshelf, and then we'll see. So that's everything that I have acquired as I was in France. Not necessarily everything, because I still have other things that I didn't show you yet, which are some nice pens or markers. They are the aqua markers, and it's a full set. I bought 6 different sets, so I now have plenty of those, and I have stacked them on the side of my desk, so I'll make sure to include a nice picture of that, a nice shot of that. On top of that, I have some pencils already laid out. Those I didn't acquire in France, but it just, you know, I've been tidying up today, so that's a bit of an update on my end as far as the update went anyway. It's a little rambling, mostly about, you know, having to go to a hospital in France, but yeah, I got some stuff that I still need to tidy up, so these are the final bits and pieces that I need to tidy up for our holiday stuff, and then I'm gonna have to figure out all the insurance stuff and getting my money back for the stuff that I did pay in France, and also still for the taxis I took for my broken foot, because I hadn't done that actually before I left, and just some other bills and admin stuff to catch up on, so plenty of stuff still to do. And tomorrow I start work again after I've been to my hospital appointment. I do kind of look forward to getting to writing again. I have been having some new ideas as I was in France, so I'm excited to write those down and get back into the flow of writing. I feel like I've missed it a lot. I haven't done it as much in the past, you know, couple months, even this year. I feel like I haven't really made a lot of progress on my writing, and I have missed that. I have realized as I was in France that I really, really want to do more writing, and I want to work on my books more because I miss that. I miss working on those. So we'll see what happens with that. But for now, this is kind of my holiday update. I will make sure I do a July and August wrap up when it comes to that. So make sure you stay tuned if you want to watch that video later on. It will be a combined July and August one because I didn't get to do a July when July was finished, and August is almost over, so I figured I will do it together once I get there. So the updates hopefully probably maybe won't be as long as this video, maybe, I don't know. We'll see what happens when I get there to those videos, but so far this is my update. I have plenty of stuff to do and plenty of things that are still a little bit of a struggle for me with my foot. At the moment, if anyone's wondering, I do walk on it a little bit, even though it's hurting, because I need to get around my apartment. I do have my crutches laying around as well, so I can use that, and I still get around a lot in my desk chair because it has wheels underneath, so I can move myself about my apartment a little bit if I don't want to walk too far. So if I haven't replied to your messages, you know, if you are one of those people that message me, then I apologize. I have been trying to keep up with all of my messages and with the YouTube comments, even if it's a couple days late sometimes, but I've been trying to keep up with everything with my DMs and stuff, and I think TikTok has been the one that I've been ignoring the most, so if you've messaged me there, then I apologize. I will get to them, hopefully before this video even goes live, but if you haven't mentioned me, or if you have been missing the fact that I wasn't actually here, if you've been missing me on live streams, even if it's not necessarily on my channel usually, I will be back sometime soon. I hopefully have already been back by the time this video goes live, but I will make sure to keep you guys posted on everything that's happening. I'll make sure to give you guys an update on my leg as soon as I know more tomorrow, and I will keep on vlogging. So welcome back to actual me doing this in more real time than my previously recorded videos. But I hope you have still been enjoying my series. If you have, please let me know in the comments. If you haven't, then also let me know if you're happy that I'm back with my vlogs. But yeah, let me know how you're doing. I have definitely missed talking to you guys a little bit. I feel like this is usually my outlet and I haven't really had that, so it's nice. It's nice to vent a little bit, to talk, to rant, to get, you know, my mind out into the open and to camera, you know. Anyway, talk to you guys later. I will keep on vlogging, hopefully, you know, if I don't forget, and if I feel like it, because I didn't really feel like filming anything when I was in France. Also because I didn't really do a lot, so I didn't film anything. Now I gotta clean my desk again. I forgot to show you something that I got. I'm trying to get by without crutches. In France as well, and I forgot because it's stashed next to my fridge at the moment, so I didn't really pay attention, so I forgot to show you that. But as soon as I put this down, I will go and grab it for you and show you. There you go, that lighting is better. You can also see my laundry there. So this is another thing I got in France, which is a diamond painting canvas. So it's a nice pretty picture, and there are the diamonds that go on top. Well, they're not actual diamonds, you know, but those things. So I'm looking forward to doing that actually. Kind of want to do that already, but I also know that I don't really, you know, have a lot of good ways to sit with my leg. With my leg still being there in the cast, so we'll see what I end up doing today. Most of it is cleaned up anyway, so I should be able to relax a little bit now and chill. So that's what I'm gonna do. And I don't know, I want to do too many things. I want to read, I want to watch something, I want to play video games, I want to write, I want to do admin tasks, I want to do a lot of things. But I feel like it's the last day of my holiday, last day I'm actually off, so I feel like I should probably just chill and do nothing for a little bit. So yeah. Hi. Alright, so I figured I'd give you guys a quick little update on the cast situation before I end this video. So the cast is officially off. I am now castless, which is, you know, pretty nice. They did take 6 x-rays just to make sure that everything was fine and that nothing is broken, especially because I fell because of my other foot, and they just wanted to make sure. So we had 6 x-rays done. 3 of my foot specifically, and then also 3 of my ankle. I've just washed my hair since my cast is off for the first time without having to hassle with all the things to protect my leg, which is kind of nice, I'm not gonna lie. Feels good. It also feels nice to be able to wash that leg, because I obviously hadn't washed it in almost 8 weeks, so I'm happy that I was able to wash it. My foot did look a little bit gross when I first had it taken out of the cast. Obviously your skin keeps growing, so my skin on my foot obviously also kept growing, and that didn't look pretty. It usually falls off as you know, start walking and you wear stuff and whatever, it wears off over time, but obviously in this case it was just encased in that cast, so it looked a little bit disgusting. If you've ever broken your foot you would know, but we got it fixed, we got it all nice and clean, so my leg looks nice again. I made sure I put a razor to it as well to erase all the hairs that were there. Probably haven't picked up everything because I usually do it kind of quickly and I don't really pay attention to every single hair that's there. But it's good enough for me at the moment. It was fun to see the color difference of my legs as well, especially because one of them is a little bit tan now and the other one's very pale, like my legs usually are if I don't see the sun. I feel like my leg is smaller. Obviously, it loses a bit of the muscles and all that as you don't do anything with your leg, so that has definitely also happened. But other than that, I think the leg is fine. It still hurts a lot, so there's nothing really for me to do except for wear a sturdy shoe for the upcoming however many days, weeks it needs to be. Basically, they told me wear a sturdy shoe and use your crutches if you feel the need. So I am currently still using my crutches just because I feel it hurts a lot when I walk on my foot, and especially with my other foot still not being 100% well, I figured I'd use my crutches for now. So I'm trying to walk a little bit here and there with my crutches to see how it feels. The first few steps, I gotta say, were very weird. It felt very strange to move my leg without the heavy cast on, and it felt very light, and it also felt very weird to step on it. But you know, we're making progress, and I'm currently also making myself ready for a live stream that I'm attending tonight. So if you were at that live stream, I hope we had a good time, because obviously this comes out after the live stream, but I'll make sure to leave the live stream linked down below. That is from Emma Bennett, obviously my twin as we call each other, so I'm gonna be on her channel probably a lot more. You know, you'll see me there pop up every once in a while. But as always, I also have a playlist with all my off-channel appearances, so if you missed that live stream, or if you've missed previous live streams that I've joined, or just in general stuff that I am in, then I will make sure to leave that playlist link down below as well for you to check out. So with that being said, that is the wrap up of this how was my holiday and how was everything kind of video, and how is the cast story. So I'll probably still, you know, update you guys on the progress in my usual vlogs, because I will probably not be vlogging as much, I feel, in the upcoming few days, because it's hard to hold my camera and then try and move around with my crutch. You know, I want to be careful and not trip again, because, you know, I've proven that I trip quite often apparently. So shouldn't be doing that. So I want to be careful and not break anything else, even if it's my equipment. But hopefully not myself anymore. Hopefully that course is done. I don't have to worry about it. But yeah, for now, that is the story and that is the video. So hope to see you in my next ones. I will make sure to do an update on July and August wrap up, as I've said in this video, and then probably back to switching up with the series that I still have going on. I don't know if I need to film more videos for that, probably. I don't actually know how much I've edited for that series, so I'm gonna have to figure that out. But I've been postponing being an adult for a little bit still, so you know, I'm starting work already. I've started work and that is fine, but I'm already very tired in the evenings when I'm just chilling on the couch. So I am probably just gonna keep doing that for a little bit. I know that I still have a video coming out on Friday. It's currently Wednesday, so I don't have to worry about that one. And I think I have one coming out on Monday, but I don't know if I've scheduled that already. I might have, but I don't know. I don't know. So I might have to schedule that one, but should be fine. I'm gonna focus on doing everything this weekend. This week, I'm just gonna ease back into working and trying to, you know, manage everything with my feet and working, and then the other stuff will come in the weekend and next week. So for now, this is it. I hope to see you in my next videos, and yeah, see you around. So we had 6 egg rape. So we had 6 egg rape. So we had 6 egg rape. So we had 6 egg rape.